What's good, my fellow peasants? How you all doing? So, Final Fantasy VII Remake, it's been a while since we had an update. Where is it? This game, this unicorn of a thing that I've wanted for 10 years. Where is it at? What's going on with it? So I think like most of you, I've kind of got tired of covering the remake or reading articles that are passing off as news when in fact they're just speculating the date out of nothing. You know, Nomura picked his ass on Monday, so perhaps it will come in 2019. Sakaguchi was seen on the grounds of Square Enix. It must be the remake. There's been nothing of substance, and most of the time it's clickbait, but we do have some juicy news. So I'm going to kind of do like a round review for anyone who doesn't know exactly what the history has been. So we found out in 2015 that this game was happening. It was the hypest day of my life. Ooh, I still get shudders mixed with shoving. And then we got a second trailer not far off, and then since then, we didn't really hear much. We got teasers about what the combat systems are going to be, you know, a few extra details, but really nothing of substance, really nothing of substance. And that went on for about, I'd say 2 years or so. Wasn't really much going on there. And then we found out that they had to cut away some of their external developers who've been working on it because they wanted the quality to be there. And they believe they could only achieve that by doing it all in-house. So then we had that piece of news and they kind of played that down. And now we've got even more news that job listing update, I mean, it's crazy. So the new job listing. So before, I can't remember exactly what the role was. And again, that was to shift it away from CyberConnect. But the new job listing, as translated, I'll read it out to you guys. We are examining programs that implement general functions and contents for Final Fantasy VII Remake as necessary on the development team, and while we are reaching a satisfactory level in terms of reproducing the original title in high quality graphics, we have come to the conclusion that we should aim for even higher quality in order to meet the expectations of fans. That said, quickly finishes the last bit. That said, we will tackle the production of the big title by establishing core members of various positions such as level planners, battle planners, designers, engineers, including existing members of the original existing development team. Interested applicants are expected to work as a core member. Yeah, that's worrying. That is worrying. It's as good as it is worrying. Again, this is that horrible balance, and we did it with Final Fantasy XV. We found out it's getting pushed back, or we found out that really scary changes that shouldn't be happening for a game we heard about 3 fucking years ago. We kind of all played the same. If it's to improve the quality, then I'm fine with it. Yada yada yada. Stop being impatient, motherfuckers. And then look what kind of happened. It wasn't up to quality, it wasn't up to scratch, and that excuse of saying it was to increase in quality, I think it's just that. It was an excuse for 15. Not to say the game isn't good or quality, it's just that they struggled with the actual vision of it. They struggled with the story. They even admit themselves, something like the Leviathan fight was a technical nightmare. So you could tell that was bullshit, and Square Enix will happily say their delays are increasing quality. I hope it's not the case for this and it's genuine, and to a degree I can kind of imagine it is. I mean, this is such a big project for Square, and we have seen this before. I will say Square Enix, they might have missed it with 15 a bit, but they are perfectionists. We've seen them so many times in the history of Final Fantasy delay their games and cut things and invest crazy amounts of money just for tiny graphical or gameplay improvements. Kind of what I'm thinking is, even with 7 the original, they bought out what was it, Silicon Graphics supercomputers for 260 mil just to give us sexier in-game combat models, the cooler combat models. So that's what's happening with the job. Worrying. A lot of, specifically, not all of these are late games. Some of these are early parts of development. Again, because we know it's going to be multiple parts, whether they're getting the team in for the second and third parts, but I doubt it. If it was QA or QC as the job roles, QC, if it was that, I'd be like, no problem. But level planners, battle planners. So there it is. Covering a little bit of extra news that I didn't really cover back in the day simply because they were shown it at a museum, a gallery. Photography weren't allowed. I know the pictures got leaked, but no, I didn't want to peddle them around, even though it was so exciting. I'm not going to talk about it now, but supposedly pictures came out of a brand new looking Cloud. I think they said that Wedge looked a bit chubbier and happy. Biggs was even sexier somehow. I don't know how. That man was sexy in that trailer. And Jesse, I think they said something about Jesse, but aka that they've done a little redesign on the characters. And that happened a couple months ago. So this idea that they're changing things to improve the quality, that makes it kind of even more believable because we have seen those changes. And that's the problem. I don't know what console this is coming on. I really want to believe PS4. I really want to. But I can't. I just feel like at this point we could easily still be. I know a lot of people are saying 2020, 2022. They've been saying that for a while. And I've been believing them. And that 2019 is just looking more and more unrealistic. And so is it on the PS4. So I'm going to be kind of pissed about that. And I think we know that's just going to cause such a stir. If it doesn't come out on the PS4, it comes out on the PS5. Or maybe not even the PS5. Maybe the PS4.5. Something up from the Pro, another interim. I don't know. But I kind of feel like it might still be PS4 because it's still going to be Unreal Engine 4. And that was another part of the news that they're even saying they're looking at how the 7 remake might be able. So don't get your hopes up. Don't put your panties on the line. They said they're trying out Unreal Engine 4 on the Switch, see how it works. So it might be coming, but a very key portion of the news. Where is it? Because we found out that I think it was Naoki Hamaguchi. Might be butchering that, from Mobius. He was the director on that, or not the director, I think he was just one of the core members. He came over, he took on a really big role on the remake, pretty much took it over. And I kind of said back in the day, I like the decision. He's a younger guy, he might be able to bring something fresh to it, but that Nomura was still going to be in charge. I thought that doesn't really make much sense. They bring on this Hamaguchi. I think they even said Kitase was stepping up his role in it. I think they brought on 2 or 3 other big team members. And these people coming on, it was the signs to me. And if you go back 6 months ago, I said it in the video, I said I see Nomura struggling. I see them taking it away. He clearly doesn't have time for it. They're clearly trying to do what Nomura always does, and I don't know why they try to do it any different, which is just having there as a creative director. I am on a slant. Oh shit. Just having there as a creative director. The crazy mind-blowing thing is Nomura has never directed a Final Fantasy game. Ever! And yet we have so many fans in the Final Fantasy fan base who say that Nomura is their favourite director. He did a fantastic job in Kingdom Hearts, but honestly, that's where he's a director. Anything comes to Final Fantasy, he's not that. And now here we are. Here it is. Where is it? Here it is. FF7 Remake director Tetsuya Nomura steps down, replaced by Toriyama. Woo! I gotta say, this got my blood pumping. This has got me kind of. It's kind of both good and bad. I'm kind of excited and worried at the same time. I'm kind of worried, straight up, with how scary this is running parallels to Final Fantasy XV. No, there was even a part of this interview that they did, and Toriyama spoke back in the day, and he said about we're doing FF13, so it took about 3.5 years. For some reason, back in 2010, he was asked about the 7 Remake with Kitase in the interview, and Toriyama said that if they did 7 Remake, they reckon it would take 3 times as long as it did to do FF13. 10 years. 10 years, that's what he said. Now, admittedly, he was just stabbing back in the day, but it seems to me like that's what I like about him. He's a man who knows the size, scope, and scale, and with FF13, he delivered really well. In terms of timelines, I'm gonna say, for how big a project that was, it definitely delivered better than 15. The FF13-2, Lightning Returns, love them or hate, at least they came out in a timely fashion. And now, as if the wheels have fated it, as if destiny, divine timing's brought in, he is now stepping in as, I just want to make sure before I say director, Just want to make absolute sure. So Toriyama was excited to be offered the opportunity of director, saying, when I saw that Final Fantasy VII Remake was being made, I wanted to offer my service as a game director. Now that I'm taking full responsibility for it, please look forward to some nice surprises, said Toriyama in an interview. Okay, so Toriyama, he is the guy who did 13, but it's way more than that. Let me quickly bust out some of them. I think I did a FF directors ranked worst to best. I did them ranked 1 to 9. Here it is. So the main ones in Final Fantasy that Toriyama has directed are the Marmite ones, the prequels, the sequels, the ones that people are a bit fishy-wishy on. So FF10-2, FF13, FF13-2, Lightning Returns, and Revenant Wings. And here are the scores. They're not great scores, and he did end up coming in at number 8 of 9 directors, number 8, with Nomura. Despite him not being really a director, I kind of still gave him credit for a lot of his work, because it kind of pushes director level, but never fully, because he's kind of shit at planning and organising staff, and that's just a goddamn fact, and he said it himself, so fuck off. He came in with a much better score of 4.36 out of 5, joint second and third with Aito. So in terms of Final Fantasy games that people enjoy, Nomura definitely comes out on top, but I think that's just clear, that's clear bullshit and unfair, simply because, like I said, Nomura hasn't directed, he's done a lot of great work on the older titles, but so is Toriyama, and that's what I think. Everyone thinks that Toriyama equals FF13. FF13 equals Toriyama. Toriyama is obsessed with lightning, and has a 3D plastic blow-up doll of her tied down in the basement that he bangs every week. That kind of bullshit, but it's not. He's a brilliant director. And this is where I'm getting to why I'm excited to hear this change. I'm so excited to hear this change, because he was the event planner on Final Fantasy VII. So he's worked the original, he's been there, he was part of the core team, and I know one of those was the submarine chase. He did that, he is to thank for that. Am I focused on this bitch? So he's done a load of other games as well. Bahamut Lagoon, Racing Lagoon. He only has special thanks on the World Ends With You and Kingdom Hearts 258 over 2 days. Don't know what his roles were there. Full Metal Alchemist, Prince of Dawn, Blood of Bahamut. Scenario director on the 3rd birthday, special thanks on Dissidia, again Lightning Returns, FF14 Heaven's Ward, special thanks, the latest Dissidia, special thanks, it's a Darky Street Scenario Supervisor, yada yada yada, the list goes on. So he's done his work, but the reason I'm excited is because, and this is probably why I'm going to get dislikes, I love FF13. You can fucking burn, can fight me in the street if you disagree. I love the trilogy, I love it so much, and one of the things I like that a lot of people thought was terrible. Again, this is the Marmite, you'll either love or hate this aspect. It got criticised as much as it got loved by some, was that people said it was so story dense, so cutscene dense. A lot of people say it's like a movie game, or just a cutscene game. You know, you had 6 or 7 fights max, and then you were thrown into a cutscene. And even if we look at, say, even across the 13 trilogy, the world went from linear, super linear, to linear. Everyone hated it, to he noticed that, he picked up on what fans wanted, and he made some big changes. 13-2, he went wide linearity, which wide linearity is exactly what I think FF7 Remake needs. I know a lot of people are going to say open world. I'll probably do a video another time why I don't think that's going to work in the way we think it's going to work, especially if we want to see this game before 2025. I think wide linearity is the way to go. Again, FF7, as much as people think it was an open world game. It was an overworld map that gave you the illusion. But again, that's not to say, and this is where Lightning Returns come in, you can't include those open world aspects, because he's done that as well. So that's the thing. And Final Fantasy VII kind of plays like that. It goes very linear at points, and then it goes to more open areas, and then it goes quote unquote open world. And I think Toriyama, he's had experience in all of that across a trilogy. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's done it across a trilogy, and with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and this was like 2 years ago, they said it's going to be about the size and scale of the 13 games. Each game will be a whole game the size of 13. It sounded kind of logical, that it's going to be 3 parts, and yeah, it seems quite logical that that the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be 3 parts. I think that sounds about right. Again, it could be wrong, it could be 2, it could be 4, but whatever. And I think that across those, it's going to phase very, very much like the 13 trilogy did. The time breaks in between the games, a year, it's what I'm kind of expecting. Toriyama's done that, he's done that structure. And again, going back to that cutscene movies, goddamn best me, have some respect. That cutscene movie, that's exactly how Final Fantasy VII plays. That's the thing, so many people say with 13 they didn't like it, and I get the linearity, but say it's the linearity. Don't say, oh, I felt like there were just too many cutscenes, too many stories, because that is exactly how 7 will play. You go back and play FF7 original, yes, well, you can go off and frolic and do your shit. When you're in the linear part of the game, you are really only having a few fights, a boss fight, and then you're hitting another cutscene, another region. In fact, it's almost every single new town or environment or region, there's some sort of cutscene. Even when you enter, say, the fishing village, before they go in, they'll meet and they have a chat. Now, when you apply that to a AAA, big budget, high quality game remake like we're expecting, this is why I've said from the start, I'm not going to go back and say it, why this does have to be 3 parts. Anyone who thinks a fully remade version of a text-based D-scale game made in 1997 can be made today to the same quality, the same standards, the same cutscenes, the same voice acting, the same realistic scale that we would expect from a AAA game, and still all fit within the same confines of a single game, well then you're fucking insane. You've lost your spivvy. It just can't be done. So I love Toriyama for this choice. Also, I think he knows how to nail cutscenes. I think his timing on them is fantastic. His pacing of them. I think he's innovated, especially with the combat system, so much. Something that I really imagine the 7 remake's gonna need, because that's the thing. Are we really gonna have the same combat system for 1, 2, 3 games across perhaps 4 or 5 years? I really doubt it. And then finishing this bit about Toriyama off, even just what I saw with the quests. That's the thing, I'm going to say it straight up, the thing I hate most about 15, and I think killed the goddamn game, was the pointless quest, the fetch quest. Go get me a bucket of oil? Are you joking me, Cindy? Fuck nah. And that's why I even liked FF13, it had no quests. It had none. Well, it did have some, you could go off and do them, but they weren't many, and you could easily cruise through the game without ever seeing them. And I thought that was brilliant. I thought that really kept the immersion in this idea of we're a gang on the run. No, we're refugees, we're criminals. And even if they stopped for even a second, Psychon would show up. I love that. And I know a lot of people didn't. And again, I do think Final Fantasy's quests are important in Final Fantasy. And again, as we saw the 13 trilogy progress, we saw the quests get better. And by Lightning Returns, those quests, I'll say Lightning Returns, it had flaws, it had issues, but the quests, they were actually connected to the story. They actually integrated into the world, told parts of the lore, and the lore was really well told in Lightning Returns. Even in 13, I thought he was fantastic at delivering the lore. Fleshing it out, getting the grip, making it feel real, the gods. I feel like in terms of lore, he made it really deep. 13 missed the boat because it didn't have the towns, it didn't have the culture. We didn't know what Cocoon and Pulse, what the people were like or what they thought. Again, something that changed by Lightning Returns. And again, in FF13, there was too much in data logs. Something that, once again, he phased out. So basically what I'm saying is I think Toriyama has learned so much. He was there back on the original 7. Everything in my head that I say I want 7 Remake to be, I want it to be cutscene and story dense. I want to go back to Avalanche, I want Gongaga to get fleshed out, and I know Toriyama is that kind of guy in terms of world structure. I think he's done it. I'd love something like 13-2. My travel over to Midgar and Calm, I don't want it to be a tiny narrow corridor. I want it to have just a bit of room, a bit of breathing room. I want to check the sights out, but I also don't want it to be open world because, again, I don't want this game to take 10 fucking years to make. And like Square Enix said, with FF15, if the second part had been linear, it would have taken twice as long and been twice as expensive. So open world comes at such a cost, despite what you motherfuckers who like Witcher 3 will say. So there it is. Where we're going to hear next from Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now they've replaced the director. They're doing all this staff stuff, hiring so many core jobs in really important meaty sections of the game, and they're kind of looking to overhaul it again in terms of graphical quality. It kind of feels like we're back at stage 1, and I can just already see the writing on the wall. The next trailer we get, 2019, won't have a release date. It'll probably be something like 2020, 2022, but we will see differences. We will see huge differences in the next trailer, and inevitably there's going to be some who say I don't like it, and this is why I can see the writing on the wall. It's playing exactly like Versus 13 and 15 all over again. Square Enix idiotically show us the trailer way too soon. Way too soon. You should. There's no excuse for showing us the trailer that fucking early other than to spike your goddamn share prices. And that's exactly what happened. 20% increase overnight. But I could just see it happening. The next trailer's coming out and people going, Toriyama's ruined it. Toriyama's delayed it. Fuck's sake, Toriyama. You've taken 10 years to get the game out, even though he's only been working on it for fucking 5. You sounding familiar? Or the trailer's different. And we will hark back to the old 2015 trailers, or some people will, and they Nomura's Final Fantasy VII Remake would have been better. No, remake Nomura's Final Fantasy VII Remake. There'll be reboot groups again where people just with just those trailers and their fucking tinfoil hats, they come together and say why Toriyama ruined it, even though they don't know shit. It's just all playing out the same way. The excuses are the same, the delays are the same, the switches are the same. Fucking no, stop messaging me, people. And I've probably missed some more 7 Remake news here, but already this video is long enough, so there it is, guys. Regardless though, I am patient. I am patient. I can, again, I say I waited 10 years. Actually, no, 13 years now. It was 10 years at the point that I'd been asking for it when the trailers come out. And it's been such a long journey, and I'm still so excited. I'm still so excited. I still have so much faith that Square Enix is going to pull this off. And I know that's dumb, considering the parallels to 15, but I just think FF15 was a Nomura vision that was people having to try to pick up and understand and turn into something real. 7 Remake isn't like that. There are so many people in Square Enix who, this was their childhood game. They worked on it. They know this product. They know the heart, the soul, the essence of it. And I really hope I'm not wrong on that. But I think that Final Fantasy VII is one of the dearest things to a lot of the Square Enix staff. And that's why, while 15 had its mistakes, I really can't see those same ones, despite what's happening, really playing out. But fuck me, Square, sort your planning out. Jeez, sort it out. When you make a game, know what you want it to look like, the scale of it, who the director's going to be. I mean, it was just never going to work. I don't know. I kept saying this. Doing 2 AAA games, Kingdom Hearts 3 and 7 Remake, 1 director, 2 of the biggest, most anticipated games of all time, really. It just made no sense from the beginning, and this is why this doesn't surprise me at all. When that article came out, when Nomura said that he finds it just as easy, you know, Kingdom Hearts and 7 Remake are so similar in many ways that it's actually a convenience for him. I thought, fuck off, grade A bullshit. Nah. I just didn't like the idea anyway, because even if, like he said, there's a lot of carryover between 7 Remake and KH3, I don't like that necessarily. Sure, the combat system is similar now, but the thing with Nomura is, regardless of how good he thinks he is, or how able to separate himself he is, there's no way that with him working on KH3 that 7 Remake wasn't going to be influenced. You know, if he worked on something new for KH3, we implemented that little thing for the combat system, let's do that over here as well. It just wasn't going to be fresh. 7 Remake wasn't going to be fresh, it wasn't going to be entirely unique and original, because Nomura would have been getting influence from KH3, and that's why I like Toriyama coming on. A lot of people won't agree, and let me know in the comment section below what you think about it. I actually have faith in him. I actually do. So there it is, guys. 7 Remake. See you in 2020. Fucking 2030. PS7. I don't know anymore. But either way, Peppy Angus's, because it's going to be an interesting couple of years until the next video. Cool.